Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to see concept of module 4 of the operating system subject with 17 CS 64 subject code. We are going for module 4 concept. Here we have two concept or heading. Virtual memory concept is one of the concept. Another one is a file system concept. Here we are going for virtual memory management concept in this video lecture. We have to refer this textbook for our that means for more details we have to refer this textbook. Virtual memory management. What you mean by virtual memory and how to manage that? Here virtual memory is a technique that allows the execution of process that are not completely in the memory. One major advantage of this scheme is that program can be larger than physical memory. I will come to that one example in the next slide here. Here we have CPU. This is your primary memory, that is a main memory. Just carefully you have to listen. Here this is your main memory and this is your CPU and this is your secondary memory. In this secondary memory we have lot of jobs or process. We can consider process also. That process, we know in the previous module we are going to divide that process, each process in some blocks. Each block of the process is called page. So we have lot of pages. If how many blocks you divided in that particular process, that many pages are there. Here, and if you are going to another process, there also we have some other pages. We are going to divide that process and each block is called page. In the same manner, an entire memory is divided into small block and each block is called frames. Each block is called frames. Another thing, we are dividing only user space. We have another space called operating system space in the main memory. So that is not shown here. Only we are dividing. We can divide only your user space of the main memory as a frames. Here also we have many frames. Here concept of virtual memory is, consider size of the memory is 100 KB. Okay, size of the memory is 100 KB. Size of the one process is 200 KB. Okay, size of the one process is 200 KB. Now, can you put this 200 KB process entirely in 100 KB memory? That is not possible. Entirely we can't put. That's why we are going to divide that in small blocks, that each block is called page, and we are going to take page by page. One page we are going to load here. Once memory is full, then rest of the page we are keeping in secondary memory itself. Initially everything is there in secondary memory, we are going to keep as it is in the secondary memory. Required number of pages only we are going to take from secondary memory to primary memory. Here another concept is called multi-programming. Multi-programming means we are going to execute lot of process in a single memory. Because here you know this is a CPU. CPU will execute process present in your main memory. It won't take from secondary memory. Every CPU will take process from main memory itself. So when CPU will ask process from main memory, then CPU will give that process. But you stored that in pages. So your main memory will give your process page by page to CPU. Page by page means that is stored in frame, right? So each frame process or page wise it goes to CPU. Another thing you know in the previous module, size of the frame and size of the each page of the process should be same. It should not be different. That is another concept that we seen in the previous module. Here, multi-programming. We have to execute lot of process in CPU. That is called multi-programming. Many programs are executed in CPU. That is called multi-programming. If you are taking only one process inside CPU, then only one process is executed, right? Sometimes if that CPU is executed that one process in a faster manner, then rest of the time is CPU is idle. In order to avoid that, we are going to move lot of process inside CPU and we are going to execute that. But one thing here, your process size is less, memory size is high, then we can move your lot of process, many number of process inside the main memory. Consider here this is 100 KB, but first process I will see here, this process size is 10, second is 10, third is 10 KB, fourth is 10 KB, fifth is 10, sixth is 10. So 6 process, totally 60 KB process. Then here this is size is 100 KB. So we can move all process means again we are dividing into pages, right? All pages of all process we can load inside your main memory. By that, all process we can take into CPU also for execution purpose. But if the size of the memory is 100 KB and size of the one process is 200 KB, another is also 200, this one also 200, this one also 200, then there is a lot of space is required to store in main memory. But main memory size is 100 KB, so we can't store entire one process here. So we are going to divide pages and page wise we are going to load here. After that also, here see we are dividing into how many page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here 5 page we are dividing. Consider one page, here 5 page means here consider this is 200 KB memory, 5 means 4, that is a 40 KB one space. Then here total is 100 KB. But how many pages we can load here? 40 is 1, 2, 3. Okay, only 3 because 40, 80, 40, 120 we can't load here. So we can load only 40, 42. 2 pages we can, but here one condition is what is the size of the page and what is the size of the frame, that should be same. This is called frame and this is called page, that should be same, size should be same. So we can maximum load here, if that one page size is 40 KB, we can load maximum 2 pages. Final meaning is we can't load large process in this small memory, but we have to perform multi-programming. For that purpose, we are going to take some main important pages of the process 1 into here and main pages of the process P2 into main memory. Some of the main pages out of this entire all pages, which are the main pages, that page we are going to take in main memory. Like this, all the 6 process main pages only we are going to load in main memory. By that we are thinking that all the process are there in your main memory. This is your virtual memory. Virtual memory means we are going to, that means we are going to go for previous slides here. Virtual memory is a technique that allows the execution of process that are not completely in the memory. Actually that is not completely in the memory. You can see all process are not here. Main pages only we are going to take in the main memory. One major advantage of this scheme is that program can be larger than physical memory. Program can be larger than physical. One advantage is, see here, if this process size is 200 KB, this size, entire size is 100 kb, then also we can move this process inside this. How we moved, that is a different matter. That we moved only page, one page here, that is other matter. But here CPU thinking that all processes are there inside main memory. It is a illusion, just illusion. CPU thinking all process, because here all process pages are there, but only operating system will know that here each page is of different process, is from different process, and each process size is very large. So only one or two pages are here, remaining all pages are there in secondary memory itself. Consider here first process. If your first process is having 10 pages, only one or two page we are going to take inside main memory. Remaining 8 pages we are going to keep in secondary memory itself. Whenever you want, that means whenever CPU wants, that is loaded in the main memory. Other time it is there in secondary memory. Consider process 2. It having 50 pages. Out of 50 pages, only 3 pages we are loading now. Initially we are taking only 3 pages to main memory. Remaining 47 page is there in your secondary memory itself. But here CPU thinking that P1 also there, P2 also there, but actually some of the pages only there in your main memory. That is the concept of your virtual memory. The ability to load only portion of the process, that is some of the pages of the process we are loading, that are actually needed has several benefits. That is, program could be written for much larger address space than physically exist in the computer, and there is some advantages are there. So I will show that in next slides. So I think you understood this concept. Many pages are there, many processes are there. We have to perform multi-programming concept. Multi-program means CPU will execute many processes, but here size of the memory is small, size of the each process is large. So we are going to take some of the pages of each process to your main memory. At that time CPU is thinking that all processes are there in your main memory, and it start executing page by page. Okay, if some of the pages are not there of that particular process, then that page is again loaded from the secondary memory. Whenever this CPU wants, then that page is taken from your secondary memory to main memory. Here we have another diagram. See, this is your main memory, this is your secondary memory. Many processes are there in your secondary memory. Processes are divided into pages. This is a P1 process, 4 pages are there. P2 process 4 pages, P3 process 4 pages. So like this, secondary memory contain many processes with many pages. Here this is a main memory, that is a RAM. Here we have totally 8 frames, 0 to 7 frames, because we are dividing main memory into small blocks, that is called frames. So we have totally 8 frames. We are taking each page into frames. Condition is frame size and page size should be same. That is the condition. Here now some space is given to OS, that is I told in the previous module also, some space of the main memory is given to OS, remaining is given to user. Now whatever space given to user, that we are going to divide as a frame. We are not touching anything in the OS. OS is separate here. We are dividing only here user space part, and that is called frames. Now we have to perform multi-programming. Many processes should be there in main memory. How to do that? Here concept is sum of the pages of the process P1 we are taking here. Okay, see here page 0 of the P1 is there in main memory. Page 0 of the P1 process we are going to take in main memory. Then page table of the P2. You know, each process having one page table. Each process having one page table, that we already seen in the previous module. about page table, right? Page table, each process there is a page table. We are going to save that also in the memory itself, in the main memory. So for this process we have one page table. For this process we have page table. That page table contains page numbers and frame numbers. That means which page is stored in which frame, that is also there in your page table. So that page table also we are going to store in your main memory. So page table of P2, it is there in frame 2. Now page 2 of the P2, you can see this page 2 of the P2. P2 is here. Second page of this process 2 we are going to load here. Page 2 of the P1, page 2 of the P1 is there in 4th frame. Page table of P1, this page table is there in 5th frame. Page 0 of the P2, P2 is here. Page 0, it is there here. So we are dividing entire process into small blocks, that is called pages, and page by page we are loading into your main memory. That concept, that is called, already we seen, that is called paging. Okay, page by page we are loading in here. Now one of the frame is free here. One of the frame is free. Now I will come to another concept in the next slide. See, I think you understood till now. Here we have a secondary memory, lot of process. Here main memory, and page by page we are taking here. Now consider, here we have CPU. Then this is called page table. You can see this is called page table. For each process there is a page table. Here page table of P1 is shown here. Page table of the P1. What is the page table contains? Outside we have page number, inside we have frame number. Okay. Now CPU. CPU will ask some page of the some process with page table. That means actually CPU will ask that particular page from main memory. CPU will ask particular page from main memory. So that will send one logical address. Whatever logical address sent here, that contain page number. That page number is sent to page table. Page table contain page number here. See, in the 0, 1, 2, 3 page number is there. Now the meaning of this is 0th page of the process 1 is stored in frame 1. Frame 1 means this one, main memory. You can see page 0 of the P1 is stored here. First frame of the process 1 is not there in your main memory. We not taken that. Then where it is? It is there in secondary memory. I told in the previous, some of the pages we are going to take in the main memory. So it is that particular page is not there. Page 1 is not there, that is there in secondary memory, that is not there. Whichever there in the main memory only, that is shown in your page table. Now page 2 of the process 1 is there in frame 4. You can see frame 4 contain page 2 of process 1. Right. So again page 3 of the process 1 is not there in the main memory. So it is there in secondary memory itself. We have to take that. If you want, you can take that. CPU will ask, then only we can take that. How to take that? How to take that particular process here? That concept is called swap in and swap out. Here, see, now CPU will ask, I want 0th page of the process 1. CPU will ask, I want 0th page of the process 1. Now it will check page table of the process 1. Now here we have page table of the process 1. It asks what it asks, 0th page of the P1 process 1. So in page table 0th page, where it is there in frame 1. So in frame 1 it is present, right? So that particular page is taken inside CPU. Now it is there in page table, that means it is already taken from secondary memory to primary memory, so it is there in page table. we can easily take that page into CPU for execution purpose. Now that execution completed. Now consider second time CPU will ask page 2 of the process 1. Page 2 of the process 1. Now it will goes to page table of the process 1. Now it will ask where is page 2 here. Page 2 is present in which frame of the main memory? F4. So see, now it goes to main memory. Frame 4 contain your page 2. Take that page 2 and give it to CPU for execution. Now in the both condition we had that value in we had that page in main memory, right? So that's why we got that in page table also. So easily CPU access that particular page inside your CPU. This concept is called page hit. Okay, this concept is called page hit. HIT. Now I will go for a third time. CPU third time CPU will ask page 1 of the process 1. Now consider CPU will ask page 1 for the process 1 for execution. Now it asked, right? So it will check which process asked page 1 process. So it will check page 1 process table, process 1 page table here, that will taken from your main memory, and it checks. When it checking, you can see page 1 of the process 1 is there here. Nothing is there. That is a blank. Why it is blank? Because that particular page 1, it is not stored in your main memory. It is there in your secondary memory itself. It is not there in your main memory. So page 1 of the process 1 is not there in your main memory. So that is, it is blank. That's why it is blank. So it can't access, CPU can't take that, right? So this concept is called page fault. This concept is called page fault. Whenever CPU asks for that particular page, it is not there in your main memory. If there is any page in main memory, definitely that you can see in the page table, but that is not shown in the page table, so it is not there in your main memory. So page 1 of the process 1, you can see anywhere we not seeing that particular process 1 page 1. So it is not there in your main memory. So this concept is called page fault. There is a fault. Page is not there. Whenever CPU asking, page is not there. So it is page fault. How to avoid that? How to overcome that? We have to avoid page fault. For that purpose, we are using swap in and swap out. What is a swap in and swap out concept? See, it is a secondary memory. We are going to, CPU want which of the page? Page 1 of the process 1. Where is that? Here we have. So we are going to take this process 1 of the page 1 to main memory. We have to take that. That is called swap in. We are taking this one inside process 1, main memory. Now see, check in the entire memory. Is there any free frames? Yes, here we have free. Right, here in this part we have free. That's why you can take this P1 inside here main memory frame 7 automatically in this part, that is in page table page 1 you taken in the 7th frame. So here inside this you will get F7. Whenever you taken P1, CPU asking for page 1, right? So that page 1 is taken, that is swap in for the it first checks where is the free space. Yeah, 7th frame it is free, so it will loaded in 7th frame. At that time automatically that page table is updated. How? Page 1 is there in frame 7, F7. Here we are getting F7. Now CPU will ask that I want page 1 of the process 1. Yes, it is already updated. What is there? F7 is there. So F7 is there. So directly it goes to 7th frame. Yes, here we have page 1. So we are taking that inside CPU. That is a concept. But here you know what is the page hit. Hit means whenever CPU asks for that particular page, it is there in page table. What is there in page table? That is there in main memory also. If nothing is there in main memory, then page table is empty. So CPU asking that particular page that is there in your main memory, that is called hit, page hit. Whenever CPU will ask that particular page, but that is not there in your main memory, then that is called page fault. How to avoid that page fault? We are using swapping. We are taking that particular page of that particular process inside this memory. If there is any free frame, then we can load that in the frame, and at that time automatically this page table also updated and CPU can take that. Now consider there is no free frame. Consider there is no free frame. Okay, now you already see page 7 is already booked, right? Here F7 you already got here. So now fourth time CPU will ask page 3 of the process 1. Page 3 of the process 1. Now it goes to it asking with the memory. So it first goes logical address goes to page table. Logical address contain page number and process number. So it goes to your page table of the process 1, because it asking for process 1 page 4. Sorry, page 3 of the process 1 it asking, that's why it checks the page table of the process 1. So now process 1 page 3, is there any entry? No entry. No entry means that particular page is not present in your main memory. So that particular page not present in main memory, then what is our job? Sorry, OS job? That is a job of the OS. Okay, here whenever CPU asks, it is nothing is there, then OS operating system job is to take that to here, secondary memory to main memory. So now OS will take which one CPU asked? 3, right? Page 3 of the process 1. Now swap in here. Now it checks where is your free frames. Is there any free frames? No. Previous we had this one, but that is also booked now. We taken page 1 here, that's why here updated page F7. But not, here no free frames are there. Free frames are not there here. So where we are going to take page 3? We have to take page 3 because CPU asking now, very urgently CPU asking, immediately CPU want that page 3. How to load that inside this? Easier process is there. That is called page replacement. Page replacement concept. What do you mean by page replacement? In this entire memory, whichever page, any one of the page, we have to take into secondary memory. At that time, that particular block is free. Now we are going to take that whichever you want, that page we are going to take in that free space. This is called page replacement. See, now I want page 3. It is not there in your main memory. So page 3 of the process 1 we want to load here. That is the job of the OS. OS will load page 3. It will take page 3 and swap in here, but no free frames are there. So any one of the frame we have to make free. How? This particular any one of the frame page we are taking again into secondary memory. We are keeping back to secondary memory. That concept is called swap out. And at that time that particular block is free. Now we are taking that page 3 inside this. Now page 3 is here, so automatically here it is updated. Whichever page 3 where is stored in that particular block, consider it is stored here. Page 2 of the P1 is again reloaded in the secondary memory. At that time this is free. Page 3 we are loading into here, frame 4. So frame 4 is updated. Here we are getting F4. So whenever CPU asking, right, at that time it will goes to, it want page 3 of the process 1. It will goes to here page 3. So now here we are getting F4. Automatically it checks for memory F4. Here we have page 3. So it take CPU will take that. So this is the concept. Here this What are the concept we seen? One is a page hit. Second concept, page fault. These are the very important concept: page hit, page fault. Third concept is, what do you mean by virtual memory? Virtual memory means lot of process are there, but memory size is small, so we are taking page by page of the each process into your main memory. By that, CPU will think that all the process are there in main memory. This is a just illusion. So that is called virtual memory. Now that's also over. Now another one, swap in is concept is over here. Swap out, and another very important thing, page replacement, that is also over. So here this is the concept of virtual memory here. Now we seen these are the concept now in the previous slide. Virtual memory over, page fault over, demand paging that is required. What do you mean by demand paging? See, I will go for previous slide. CPU now in the last concept I told, CPU will ask page 3 of the process 1. At that time here that is not there, right? Here it is not there. So what is the job of the OS now? It is not there in the main memory, means it is not there in main memory. So CPU OS will take that particular page of the process into your main memory by using page replacement algorithm. Swap in and swap out we are taking inside this. Take any one of the frame blank and make it add that particular page inside your main memory and execute that. So CPU demand is there, right? So here CPU will demand page 3. It will ask page 3, but it is not there, but it will ask page 3 of the process 1 I want now. So at that time automatically CPU will OS will take that process inside main memory, right? So that concept, demand, CPU will demand that for paging. So that concept is called demand paging. So demand paging also, CPU will demand for that particular page, then OS will give or OS will supply that demand. That is called demand paging. Now page replacement also over. How page replacement? We have to make one of the frame blank, add that particular page in that frame and execute. We have some of the page replacement concept. What do you mean by page replacement? Find some page in memory that isn't being used right now and swap that page only out to disk, freeing up the frame that can be allocated to the process requesting it. This is known as page replacement. It needs that, so that's why we are going to swap that. Okay, that we are going to make one of the frame freeing up the frame, and swap in swap out concept, we are going to load that particular page inside your main memory. That is called page replacement. There are two major requirements to implement successful demand paging. Demand paging should be successful means we have two algorithms. One is frame allocation algorithm, second one page replacement algorithm. Another one, algorithms are evaluated using given string of page X is known as reference string. So this one I'm going to explain in detail in another video related to your reference string. Here I will go for just one line. Reference string means how many demands are there from CPU. So CPU will demand page one page, right? That all page we are going to write, that there we have one string of pages. Okay, that is called reference string. Here we have two algorithms, frame allocation and page replacement. Now frame allocation algorithm means the former center around how many frames are allocated to each process, and the later deals with how to select a page for replacement when there are no free frames available. If there are no free frames available in main memory, then how to allocate frame for that particular process. That algorithm we are going to see in the frame allocation algorithm. If there are no frames in the memory, then how to allocate your frame to the particular process? That is the concept. The overall goal in the selecting and tuning these algorithms is to generate the fewest number of overall page faults, because disk access is so slow relative memory access. Even slight improvement to these algorithms can yield larger improvement in overall system performance. So actually frame allocation algorithm, we have mainly first point. Here thing is we have to that memory size is less actually, main memory size. So we can't allocate all the frames to all process. We have to divide. So that concept we are going to see in the next slides. But thing is how to allocate frames for the process, that is frame allocation algorithm. Another one is a page replacement algorithm. We have mainly 4 types. FIFO, first in first out, one concept. Optimal page replacement is the second. LRU page replacement is the third. Second chance algorithm is a fourth one. So related to page replacement algorithm, I am going to create another new video in the next video lecture. I will explain that, okay, related to page replacement algorithm with some examples. Allocation of frames. So what do you mean by allocation of frames? So that frame allocation algorithm we seen in the previous slide, right? That concept we are going to see here. The absolute minimum number of frame that process must be allocated is dependent on the system architecture. See, absolute number of frames that process must be allocated. For the process, each process there should be a number of frames in the main memory. P1 needs some frames in the main memory. P2 process needs some frames in the main memory. P3 also needs some frames in the main memory. These are the things we need. But who will allocate that frames? That is allocated by operating system. That is in bracket we seen by operating system. Operating system will allocate frames to that particular process. Okay, maximum number is defined by the amount of available physical memory. What is the size of the physical memory or main memory? We have to see. And how many frames are there in physical memory or main memory? We have to see. Depend on number of frames present in your main memory, we can give frames to the process. First type of the allocation algorithm, that is a first here allocation of frames is first method is equal allocation. What do I mean by equal allocation? If there are m frames available and n process to share them, each process gets an m bar n, m divided by n frames, and left over or kept in the free frame buffer pool. So I will explain with example here. See, this is a CPU. Whatever we have here, this is your CPU. And this yellow color here, this is your main memory. Okay. That main memory we are going to divide into small blocks. Each block is called, what is that? Yeah, frames. Now, here we have secondary memory. Many processes are there in secondary memory. Here, this is one process. This is another process. Sorry, this one is another process. This is another one. This is one big one process. Like this, we have a lot of process in the secondary memories. Now, equal allocation means we see how many processes are there. How many processes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 processes are there. Again, you know, processes are again divided into small blocks. That each block is called page. That you know that. Yes. Now, each process how many processes are there? 5 processes. How many frames are there? See that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 frames are there. Process 5. Frames 10. So, 10 divided by 5. How many frames? 10. How many process? 5. 10 divided by 5. So 2. So we can allocate 2 frames, these 2 frames to this process. Next 2 frames for this process. Next 2 frames for this process. Like that we are going to divide 2 frames to each process. This is the concept in the equal allocation. Then we are see first here P1 process is that this is the first process. You can say this. Now how many pages are there? There are no division. That means only one page is there. It takes how many space? That means 2 frames it takes, right? By using equal allocation, they given 2 frames for one process. Now here only one page is there. So one page we can store in one frame. Then another frame is wasted. This is the disadvantage here. So if number of frames are more, allocated frames are more, number of pages in that particular process is less, then there is a wastage of frames or memory. Okay. Another one, see last one, this one. Okay, I will keep there. This one, see last one. Here how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pages are there. Process divided into 5 pages. By using equal allocation, how many frames are given to that page? Process? 2 frames. 5 pages are there. Given is 2 page. So in this, which is the important page? That page we are going to take in this block. These 2 block. Because only 2 frames are allocated to this by using equal allocation. So which is important, take here. And whenever CPU needs other pages, then use your page replacement algorithm. Replace this page and take another page here in this place. Okay, this is your equal allocation method. Second one is a proportional allocation method. This is a frame allocation methods. Okay, proportional allocation method. Allocate a frame proportionally. This is some sentences there. I will go for example directly. It is a ratio calculation. Directly you know that how to calculate ratios, right? So we will go for one example. P1. I consider here one example. P1 is the process that needs 10 process. See here, P1 process needs 10 frames. Okay, that means P1 having 10 pages. P1 process having, this is a process P1 having 10 pages, that's why it needs 10 frames in the memory. P2 is another process, P2 having 30 pages, that's why it needs 30 frames in the main memory for storing purpose. But actually main memory is having only 40 frames. Out of 40, P1 needs 10, P2 needs 30. So by using other method we can allocate, because demand, whatever demand required and whatever present we have, that is same, right? We can allocate. But by using proportional allocation we can't do that. We have to go for ratio. So use ratio purpose. P1. What is the P1 proportionality? P1 is equal to, how many frames we will get by the P1? We will see that P1 is equal to, first how many pages demand is there? 10. So write 10 divided by, we have how many processes are there? 2. What is the demand from the first process? 10. What is the demand from the second process? 30. 10 plus 30 into, what is the total number of frames present in your main memory? 40. So into 40. 10 is a demand by P1. 10 is a demand by P1 plus 30 is a demand by P2, because only 2 processes are there, so only we added two numbers here, into, what is this 40? 40 is a main memory frames. How many frames are there in main memory? 40. That is, answer is, this 40 and this 40 cancels, so 10 is the answer. So P1 will get 10 frames out of 40 frames. Like this, we will go for P2. P2 demand is 30 divided by, first demand is 10, P1 demand is 10 plus P2 demand is 30 into total number of frames present in main memory is 40. This 40 cancel with this, so answer is 30. So P2 will get 30 frames from the main memory. So whatever the demand, they will get that. By using proportional, whatever the demand is there, there is a chance they may get that. Okay, not 100%, they may get that all frames to that particular process. Okay, this is the proportional allocation. It is a best method actually. Next we have global versus local allocation. So what do you mean by this? With local replacement, the number of pages allocated to a process is fixed, and page replacement occur only amongst the pages allocated to this process. With global replacement, any page may be potential victim, whether it currently belonging to the process seeking a free frame or not. So I will go for directly one example without explaining these lines. Say this. Here you can see this, I think it is visible. So you can see this. This is your main memory. Just listen carefully. This is your main memory. This is your secondary memory. Consider we have three processes in a secondary memory, P1, P2, P3. P1 having 20. So 20 means, that means 20 pages are there in P1. P2 have 10 pages. P3 having 50 pages. I think no need to explain what I mean by page. Process is divided into blocks, that is called page. So here we have 20 pages, here 10, here 50. So totally how many page is required by these three process? Here 20 plus 10, 30. 30 plus 50, how much? 50, 60, 70, 80. 80 frames are required by these three process. Okay. Now here, enter this memory. So here entire memory is divided into, that is a user space is divided. Again, operating system space is there, that is not shown here. User space is divided into small blocks, that is called frames. Now what do you mean by global allocation? I will come to global allocation first. Global allocation means here these three frames is allocated to P1. Assume these three frames are allocated to P1. Next 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames are allocated to P2. Then 2 frames are allocated to P3. That is fixed. That particular frames are allocated to that process. So process you can see here. Only that frames are allocated here. Okay. So now what is the concept of global? What is the concept of local? Global means, now consider P1 having 20 frames here, right? So out of that only 3 frames they given, sorry, 20 pages are there. Here 3 frames are there. So you want to load all 20 pages in this. But again, size of the frame and size of the page is same. So we can load only 3 pages here at a time. Out of 20 we can load only 3 pages. Because this is allocated to P1, so we can load 3 pages here of P1. And here 4 frames are allocated to P2, so out of 10 we can load 4 pages here. And 2 frames are allocated to P3, so out of 50 only 2 pages we can load in the frames. Now I will come to P1. P1 having 20, right? 20 page. Out of that we loaded only 3 pages. Now consider in the P3 one frame is free. Only one frame is booked by the P3, another frame is free. Also consider in the second process whatever allocated frames are there, 4 frames. Out of that 3 frames are booked and one frame consider it is a free. Okay, it is free, nothing is there in that P2 allocated frame. This is free. Now global allocation means P1, here 3 frames are there. So out of 20, 3 pages are loaded here. Again P1 want to load some other page in the memory. At that time P1 can load their other pages into other frames wherever it is free. Wherever frames are free, there that particular page of the P1 process 1 loading is possible. Here it is free, right? we can load that one page of the P1 here. It is already allocated to P2. Also, no problem, because that is a global. Global means anywhere we have free, there we can load any other process pages also. That is called that is global allocation. Now what is a local allocation? Local means if P1 is having 3 frames, so only that 3 frames is captured by that P1. So only 3 frames can use it by P1. So here, like global allocation, we can't store wherever it is free, that we can't use that. If there is any frames, that means out of these 3 frames, any one of the frame is free, then only P1 another page is loaded here. We can't load P1 page in the other free frames. If any frame is free in P3, so we can't load P1 page in the P3 frame, because this is not global, this is a local. We can use only these 3. If these 3 allotted means P1 can only use these 3. Any other free, but it can't use that. If P2 here 4 frames are allocated, it is used by only P2. It is not used by any other P1 or P3. And if these 2 frames are allocated to P3 process means these 2 are used by P3 only. If there is any free, that frames can't use it by P1 and P2. So that is called local. See, global means if there is any free space, anywhere P1 can store their pages. Anywhere. That is a anywhere. Global, that is called global. Local means only there, in that particular space only we can store. We can't go to any other frame. If it is free, we can't go for that particular space. Another concept is called thrashing. What do you mean by thrashing? Thrashing is a state of process where there is a high paging activity. A process that's spending more time paging than executing is said to be thrashing. Remember, very important definition, this one. So a process that is spending more time paging than executing. So paging means page fault and page hit. There it wasting time. CPU will wasting time for page fault and page hit than executing. That is called thrashing. I will come to that example. See this diagram. So thrashing. Here we have CPU. Okay, I think you can see this. This is CPU. So here we have memory. Complete memory is there. That memory is divided into frames, many frames. Here we have secondary memory. Here we have process. That process are initially stored in secondary memory. Whenever it wants, that is taken in main memory. That is taken in main memory. Okay, and that main memory process are sent to CPU for execution purpose. CPU will ask that particular process for execution. At that time only that is sent to CPU. This is the overall procedure. Now, what do you mean by thrashing? See, now P1 contain 50 pages. P2 process contain 20 pages. P3 process contain 10 pages. So total how many pages are required by this 3 process? 50, 60, 70, 80. 80 frames are required actually, because 80 pages are there. P1 50, P2 20, P3 10, totally 80 pages are there here total. So it needs 80 frames in memory, but we have only 10 frames. You can say this, we have only 10 frames are there in main memory. We don't have 80 frames. So what is our job? So we are taking one page from the one process into your memory. That concept is called virtual memory. You know that. So you see here, page 1 of process 1. We are taking page 1 of the process 1 in this frame. And second, we are loading page 3 of the process 1. We are taking here. Page 2 is not there. Okay. We are not taken page 2. Page 3 we taken. And page 22 of the process 1. Total we have 50, right? 22nd page we are taken here. Like this here, page 1 of the process 2, page 3 of the process 2. Like this we taken one page into main memory. By that CPU thinking that all the process are there in the main memory. You can see process 1 also there, process 2 also there, process 3 also there. CPU thinking that all the process are there in the main memory. But actually we are taking page by page inside this. That is just illusion. For CPU, there is a illusion that all processes are there here. That is called virtual memory concept. Now, here, now CPU will ask for page 1 of the process 1. Now it is asked means first it checks the page table, that concept we see in the previous slides, that it checks first for page table. Now in the page table that page entry is there means that goes to frame number. Yeah, frame number here entry is there. So in the page table also entry is there. So it goes to your page frame and it takes inside CPU. If page 2 of the process 1 is there in entry in the main memory? No. So in the page table also it is blank. So page 3 it is there. Page 4 no. Page 5 it is not there. Page 6 it is not there. If entry present, whenever CPU asks for that particular page, that entry is there in, or that page is there in your main memory, then that is called page hit. What is page fault? Whenever CPU asking for that particular page, that page is not there in that particular memory, okay, that page is not there in memory, then that is called page fault. So page fault concept that we seen in the previous slide also while explaining virtual memory, page fault. So page is not there in the main memory. So what to do? At that time we are taking another page. So whatever required or whatever demanded page is there, right, from the CPU, that page we are taking from main secondary memory to main memory by using page replacement concept. That is a swap in and swap out concept we are using to replace your that particular page. We want that page means we are taking that page from secondary memory to main memory. So CPU want that, so it supplies that. OS will supply that page. That is called demand paging. Here 50 frames are there, P1 having 50 frames, but here only related to P1 we have only 3 frames, only 3 pages, page 1 is there, page 3 is there, page 22 is there, 3 pages related to P1 is there here. But consider if CPU will ask all the frames of the P1, so what to do? Now there is a page fault concept is there, lot of page fault, because whenever CPU asks page 1 is there, what about page 2? Page 2 is not there. So at that time we are OS will take that page 2 from secondary memory to main memory. Okay, so page fault is there, right, because that is not there here. Now page 3 is asked, yes, page 3 is here, so page hit is there. Now page 4 of the process 1 is asked by CPU. Now page 4 is there here? No. So what is the job of the OS? Job of the OS is to take page from the secondary memory to main memory. So that is also page fault. Every time here 50 frames, 50 pages are there, here only 3 frames are allocated to this. Okay, so totally we need 80 frames, but only 10 frames are there. 80 pages are there, so we need 80 frames, but 10 frames are there. So lot of page fault occur in this concept because size of the memory is small. Because of size of the memory is small and size of the process is large, we are getting lot of page fault. That page fault will increase your thrashing. What is the thrashing means? See this diagram. See this diagram. Thrashing means here degree of multiprogramming. As your process increases in the secondary memory, number of process are increases. So we have to take degree of multiprogramming. Degree of multiprogramming means many process is present in your main memory. We have to take lot of process in the main memory. How to take lot of process? Some pages of that particular process we are loading in main memory. That concept is called degree of multiprogramming. Lot of process we need in the main memory. Page by page we are taking here. So as the degree of multiprogramming increases, means a lot of process is there in your main memory, but size of your main memory is small. At that time, at a particular amount of time, till this point, CPU utilization also high, degree of multiprogramming also high. increases, okay, as degree multiprogramming and CPU utilization increases till here, but size of the memory is small, right? That's why there are more page fault will occur. As the page fault increases, your degree of multiprogramming decreases and CPU utilization decreases. That method, that concept is called thrashing. See here, as the page fault increases, the degree of multiprogramming and CPU utilization increases. That page fault will increase only because of size of the memory. If size of the memory is small than size of the process, then there is a chance of page fault. Number of frame required are less compared to number of pages present in your process, then there is a chance of page fault. So in order to avoid this thrashing concept, we have two methods here. We have two methods. One is working set model, another one is a page fault frequency. So what you mean by working set model and page fault frequency? We will see that the working set model is based on concept of locality and defines a working set window. There is a window. So I will explain in brief. Okay. So here working one window we have to consider. So in the previous I told here this is the demand of the pages by the process. Again listen carefully, these are the demand of the pages. First CPU wants page 2, then page 6, then page 1, then page 5. Maybe this is related to different process, but these are the pages required by that particular CPU. These number of pages. Now we have to create one small window. Okay, so this is window is represented by delta. Window is represented by delta. So we have to calculate how many number of frames are required. For that purpose we are creating one window. So randomly we are going to calculate how many frames are required. See, now we started from here to here. Now in this demand, see 2 is there, 6 is there, 1, 5, 7, 7, 7, 7, 5, 1. Till 1, how many page are there? That you have to note down here. First page, second, fifth, sixth, seventh. So how many frames are required to store these pages in main memory? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 5 pages are asked here. Actually this 7 is repeatedly asked. So in general they asked, that means CPU asked only 5 pages. So 5 frames are required in your main memory. Like this we can calculate number of frames required in main memory initially. So here let us go for this. From 4 to here till here we have to calculate till 2. Okay, randomly we are going to calculate this. That is called window. Okay, window means we are representing by delta. There is a length. There is a length. Length is represented by delta, window length. Okay, from where to where we are going to calculate the number of pages. So now we are starting from 2 to 4. Here how many pages are repeatedly asked? That is avoided, because that once repeatedly asked means that is already present in your main memory, right? No need to again load from the secondary memory. So here 4, that is repeatedly asked. So once you only one time you can write. Then here 3, that is also repeatedly asked in this window. From here to here, that is repeatedly asked. So only 2 pages are repeatedly asked by the CPU in this part, in this length. Okay, so 3 and 4. So you can assume that only 2 pages are required. That means only 2 frames are required in your main memory to store this 3 and 4. So like this we can calculate how many. Just add this one and this one. Total here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like in these 2 windows, okay, we got only 7 frames are required in the main memory to store this. So like this initially we have to calculate. Again I will repeat. Initially we have to calculate how many frames are required to store pages. By that we can reduce our page fault. If page fault is decreases, then thrashing also decreases. In order to decrease thrashing, we are going for this concept, that is a working window, working set model that contain one window. How many pages are repeatedly asked pages, no need that frames, only here particular number, here 5, here 2. So like this we have to calculate for each string here. Then if see how many frames are required, then set that frame in your main memory. So by that we can reduce the number of page faults. So final aim is to reduce the number of page fault, because as a page fault increases, your degree of multi-programming also decreases, CPU utilization also decreases. So we have to avoid this. That's why first method is this one. What is the second method? Second method is a page fault frequency. What do you mean by page fault frequency? See this one here. When the page fault rate is too high, if there is any more page fault, the process needs more frames, and when it too low. So first point is, when a page fault rate is too high. So in this diagram you can see that if page fault rate is too high, process needs more frames, right? Process needs more frame. Here page fault is high, so number of frames are less, so we have to increase number of frames. So when page fault is high, we have to increase number of frames. When page fault is too low, we have to decrease number of frames. That is the concept of page fault frequency. Again I will repeat, if the number of page fault ratio is high, then we have to increase number of frames. If page fault rate is low, then we have to decrease number of frames. By that we can increase degree of multi-programming, and we can increase your CPU utilization. This is your virtual memory concept. Thank you.